This will never be real to me. Like, it'll never be real to me. Like, I'm just here. I'm just living out whatever this dream, whatever this simulation I'm in right now. I'm just living it out because this is not real to me. Like,
pulling up, no Pirellis. Me and my girls, we hopping out in foreign things. Prime time.
What's up, Princess Gang? It's Princess Layah. I'm back with another video. I know it's been a while. So much has happened, so much has changed since the last time I've been on this channel. And honestly, y'all, I don't even know where to begin because I've never really like told this story from beginning to the end. And honestly, there's really no end to the story just because I'm still going through it. I'm still processing everything, and it's still something that I'm, you know, just trying to get through. I did lose my mother, and it's still a very like unbelievable thing to say. Even to hear it, it's like, what? Like, man, I don't know if I want to go into detail as far as like how it happened or what, but I guess I'll just kind of let things flow throughout this video. First, I want to say thank you guys so much to everybody who, you know, was giving me just positive encouragement, prayer, sending me flowers, texts. All of that really did help throughout this process. I mean, you know, unfortunately none of that's going to bring her back, but it definitely did help me in my grieving process, and I really appreciate you guys for that. I have so many messages from friends, people that I don't even know, family, people that showed up for me, and it's something that I have to say is a blessing to have throughout this whole experience. Losing a mom, losing any parent, losing anybody that you love is very tough, and it's something that no one ever looks forward to experiencing, or no one ever really expects to happen. I mean, we're here on this earth to enjoy life with the people that we love, and you know, unfortunately, a part of that process and a part of that experience of being a human being is at some point we have to leave this earth. And I think that's something that I've been able to understand more and better, and just process it better, and just kind of cope better, knowing that, you know, we're not here for a long time, and it's always important to make out of your life what you can and what you want to make out of your life. Make a difference in someone else's life, and always just kind of leave your mark, because that's what my mom did. She left her mark in everybody's life, and she definitely made a huge impact in this world and in my life as her daughter. So I do want to say that you guys are definitely going to be seeing a different side of me, just because I feel like this particular situation has changed me in a lot of ways. It's helped me grow, it's helped me be stronger, and it's also helped me understand my mom a lot. I feel like I understand why she had such a tough, you know, a tough demeanor, because my mom was a tough girl. She wasn't no like, oh yeah, one of those little sweet moms or whatever, although I would have liked to have that. But I'm not gonna lie, being that she has left here, and you know, if she, I feel like if she were that type of mom and she left here with that type of like impact on me, I wouldn't be able to handle it the way I'm handling it. My mom was very tough skinned. I only seen her cry probably like 3 times in my life, and I can name those times on my hand. The time my grandfather passed, one of the times when her and my dad was going through their issues, and the time when my stepdad passed, which was just a year ago. So it's been a lot, you know, back to back, as far as, you know, just things that have happened. You know, if y'all know me, if y'all been watching me, y'all know I did lose my stepdad last year, and it's still something that I'm still trying to get over. You know, it's crazy how things are just happening so quick. But back to what I was saying, as far as just seeing a different side of me, I am definitely changing in a lot of ways that I can notice. As far as just my attitude about things, my attitude about people has changed. And I can say that I'm definitely developing tougher skin. I feel like I've always been a tough girl, because I do get that from my mom. I do get that from my grandmother. My grandmother has lost 4 children already, including her husband. And, you know, she is hanging on strong. And, you know, her losing my mom was like the ultimate like heartbreak for her. And just to see her go through that hurt me the most. And I feel like it's helped me, you know, gain this strength that I never thought I had, you know. I've cried about this countless nights. It's hard not to cry about it when I think about it. But, you know, one thing that Flo always tells me is when you cry, it makes you stronger. When you hold that in, it's not healthy for you to hold it in. Because I've always been like this tough girl. I always wanted to be like the strong girl, the strong friend, the strong sister, the strong, you know, wife, and the strong mom. And it's just like all this weighs down on me at some point, and I just can't do it no more. And I think that's my problem, and I have to just process things and just release it when it's time to release it. So that's kind of what I've learned in this whole thing, and you guys will be seeing that. Starting out, my mom, she was sick for a very long time. I remember getting a phone call. It's crazy because Chaz was actually there throughout a lot of these things, and she kind of saw the timeline of how things changed and the timeline of even when it first started. I think me and Chaz had just got done shooting, and I had got a phone call from my cousin that my mom wasn't really eating. Like, she was being picky about food, and she just was like not eating much. She was losing a little weight. Now, one thing that I did notice, also a lot of my friends back in Atlanta that used to visit her, even my children's dad, they noticed that my mom was losing weight even when she was in Atlanta. So I don't know if this was something that transpired or it first took place while she was in Atlanta. I do know that my mom had COVID back in 2019. She did recover from it, but maybe some things just kind of, you know, stayed in her system from the COVID, because as time went on, she still was getting, you know, pneumonia and just things that, you know, was kind of like COVID symptomatic, you know, of COVID. So I noticed that she was losing weight, not really eating much. Even when she was in Atlanta, I thought it was normal. You know what I mean? She's getting older. Usually as you get older, your metabolism changes. You don't eat much. Her and my stepdad was actually going through some things. So I kind of figured, you know, it's normal. Never really thought anything of it. My mom was, like I said, she was always moving around, always in the yard, always working. She traveled a lot when she worked. So she was just always on her feet, always going. So I never saw her as being sick, you know. So about a year later, about a year later, that's when me and Flo left Atlanta to go to Houston. We had gotten signed, and we took on our YouTube careers and things like that. We moved here, which when we left, my mom ended up leaving to go be with my grandmother in Louisiana because my grandmother got sick, which it actually worked out because that was closer to me. Like Houston is closer to Baton Rouge. It's only about 4 hours. So I would always go and see her on the way, taking the girls to Atlanta, on the way back, or whenever we would need to make visits, you know, we would go. It was nothing to just get in the car and drive. You know, as we was making these visits, and, you know, I did see my mom's health declining, but every time I would, you know, ask her about it or, you know, have any type of concern about it, she would always just, I'm fine, you know, I'm just not eating, you know, just a lot going on. I just lost my house, you know, because she moved from Atlanta. She was going to keep her house, but there was some issues with the landlord and all this stuff, so they ended up selling. And, you know, we wanted to keep and hold on to that house for memories because my girls grew up in that house. I mean, we lived in that house for years, so it was something that we wanted to hold on to. But my mom, like, she was there by herself, you know, and she just couldn't keep up. Like, it was just too much for her to keep up with it. So she went and she moved with my grandmother to help and take care of her because she had gotten sick. And within that time of my grandmother getting sick, my mom got sick. And I guess with her getting sick, it was more so, like I said, the not eating, the losing the weight, getting really weak, tired. These are a lot of her symptoms. Anemia is something that runs deep because I have anemia. My sister has anemia. And just high blood pressure, things that she had to get, you know, medicine for. And then just last year, last year, I lost my uncle. He just went missing. As you guys know, a lot of y'all have been still checking up to see how that's been going. That was my mom's, like, closest. Like, that's her brother. So, like, they were like this, like, talked about everything. My uncle actually lived with us for a lot of time throughout my life. Like, he lived with us, and, you know, that they were like best friends. So losing her brother and not knowing where he was, that weighed on her. And then shortly after that, a couple of months after that, my stepdad died. So all these things accumulating on her, making a huge, like, hit on her health. You know, of course, you know, when you lose somebody, especially your husband, you're gonna get sick, you're gonna get depressed, you're gonna go through a whole phase of just, like, depression and anxiety. So she got medication for that. She had an issue with acid reflux, so she had a doctor for that. My mom had at the end, she had about 9-10 doctors for every issue that she was dealing with. So I don't know, I guess we never till this day really knew exactly what it was. There was never really a final diagnostics. We were told she had some type of bladder cancer. It was never a definite, like, this is what it is, this is what we can treat her for. the doctors never really said. I mean, like I said, she had treatments for all different kinds of things. I mean, I know I took her to the doctor myself about 3 or 4 different times when I visited, and you know, they sent her home with, you know, pneumonia, or they did like a colonoscopy where they put the light down your throat, and they found yeast in her chest because she kept getting these things on her lungs, some type of unusual nodules that were just there, and they didn't know what it was. They thought maybe it could have been some specks from the pneumonia that needed to get cleared out. They thought it was then they said it was candida, which is yeast, so she had to get an antifungal for that. So every time she went and they gave her something, we're thinking, okay, that this is going to help, this is going to make her better, this is all we gotta do is just get her weight up. Her weight just kept declining. That was the main thing. Like, she can't get any type of real treatment because she's losing so much weight. So I guess when it all came down to it, like, that's kind of where we're still at with it. I can't really say what it is. Nobody knows. Nobody can say, hey, this is what it is. But all I know is my mom just got really sick, and I've never seen her like that. I was hoping for her to get better. I was praying for her to get better. You know, she did suffer for a while, but she always just stayed so strong and so tough throughout everything. And, you know, it was just hard seeing her in her final moments not being able to hold on anymore. You know, it was just like, you know, you fought this battle. And I remember one of her last things she said to me was, and this got to the point where I couldn't even understand. I can understand her, but she was talking in a way that it was like, hold on, y'all. I couldn't understand her. I was trying to understand everything she was saying, but some of the things that she said to me was, she said, I feel like I've been suffering for a whole year. And she said it with so much, like, you know, I'm ready to give up. You know, she just said, like, oh gosh, I could tell in that moment she was ready to give up. When I first saw her, when we walked in the room where she was, and me and Flo saw her, we both knew. At that point, it was just like, oh. I looked at her, she looked over. When we walked in, I was just like, man, this is not my Ima. Like, this is not my mom. Like, I'm just so used to her always being this strong woman, and just like, she just couldn't do it no more. Like, her body just wouldn't allow her to keep going and keep fighting. Like, she couldn't do it. Man, because I had just seen her. My sister had seen her like 2 weeks before I saw her, and 2 weeks before that I saw her. She was still small, you know, but she was still able to really talk and communicate. Just, then at one point, you know, even when I was here, days leading up to me going to see her, you know, she would call me at like 5, 6 o'clock, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and just say things that didn't make sense. And I in my mind, I'm thinking it's the medication they gave her, because it was something that her doctor gave her before she left the hospital, because she was actually in a rehab facility, so they couldn't do anything else for her. So I'm thinking, you know, the doctor told us that the medication was going to cause her to hallucinate and see all these things and think all these things that she's not really going through. So that's what I thought it was. I'm like, oh yeah, she just hallucinated. But then I'm thinking back, I'm like, this was just her mind leaving her. Like, her mind was gone. So she used to call me saying she was hungry, and I was hoping that the medication was just helping her, you know, be hungry and eat. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna order Uber Eats. I was ordering DoorDash, Uber Eats to the facility, whatever, making sure she was eating and things like that. You know, I was doing everything I could from where I was. And it just, she still wasn't eating. So I got there, I actually got a phone call. This was the day we were filming Kiana's Baddie show. And Baddie's in the Wild. And I got a phone call from the nurse practitioner. She's like, when was the last time you heard from your mom's doctor? And I was like, I heard from him a couple days ago before she was admitted to you guys. She was like, well, what were they saying? And I'm like, well, they told me that, you know, she had some type of nodules on her chest that they were slightly concerned about. They didn't know what it was. It could be nothing. It could just be that it's just there. And he was going to give her something, some type of steroid that may have like actively or try to like get rid of those you know, nodules, or maybe make them go away, or not really all the way make them go away, but decrease them or make them smaller or whatever. And he told me that she would have, you know, some reactions to it as far as like, you know, her thinking, but it could help her eat and just kind of eliminate her pain that she was going through. My mom was in a lot of pain. So she was like, yeah, okay. She was like, well, I'm here just basically, I'm looking over everything, looking at your mom. I'm just here to tell you that it's not looking well for her, and you guys need to start making end of life plans for your mom. So I'm like, what? Like, I would have never. That's not something I was expecting to hear, especially on the day that I'm filming. And I just didn't know how to take that. I'm talking to her, I'm like, are you sure? Like, we can't get a second opinion? She's like, I don't know if there's enough time for that. So I'm like, enough time? Like, you're telling me my mom's about to die? Like, what are you saying to me right now? And she just wasn't, she was just so sure that my mom had cancer. That was her diagnosis based on what she was looking at. However, there's no definitive whether my mom had cancer or not, because she didn't have a biopsy for this specific cancer that this girl is talking about. So I was just so confused in my mind. I'm just like, oh my God. So Chaz was there. She came in the bathroom. I was in the bathroom. And we just cried. Chaz grabbed me. When I got off that phone, Chaz grabbed me. And I will never forget that day. Like, the way that the feeling that came over me was just like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't process it. I'm like, end of life plans? I don't even know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to plan for the end of someone's life. Like, that doesn't even sound right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're literally just in the bathroom, just boo-hoo crying for like 10-15 minutes straight. Chaz is holding me so tight. We're just crying. Chaz is crying like as if it's her mom. Like, and we're just crying and we're just praying. She said a prayer for me. And so I left there, immediately went, well, after filming, I left and got to Baton Rouge, saw my mom that night. And that was what I saw. It was just, I saw death on her. I saw it. And my girls saw it. My girls they just immediately just started crying. Like, everybody just went in that room and we just started crying. And I just did my best to just be positive and prayed and just asked Yahweh for strength, healing. And I just did so much praying. I did more praying than crying, but honestly, I just knew. I knew that this was something that Yahweh wanted. It was time. And I just had to, you know, accept it and give my mom what she wanted. My mom wanted peace. My mom didn't want, and although I feel like she knew she was sick, she didn't want a bunch of people in her face. She didn't want to be reminded every day, oh, you sick, you got to go to the hospital. She didn't want to be in the hospital. She wanted to be at a home where she was comfortable, around people that she was comfortable with, you know. And then at one point, you know, we didn't know what was wrong. I was offering for her to stay here. I had the whole room set up down there, you know, for her downstairs. And, you know, my uncle told me, no, don't do that, because you don't know what's wrong with her. And if something happens on your hands, that's on your hands. You know, you don't want that. You don't want to have that type of responsibility. You don't want to have that type of pressure on you, you know, and your family. And you don't know what's wrong with her. So our best bet was to just get her professional medical help. That was what our goal was. And just, you know, but although I know my mom didn't want that, I did my best to just be in the middle, like give her what she wants, but at the same time, my mom needs help. And I just felt like there was nothing that I could do other than give her what she wanted at the end of the day, because I'm not a doctor, you know. And like I said, my mom wanted peace. She used to tell me all the time, Layah, I just like talking to you. I just love talking to you. I love just whenever I just want peace, whenever I just need some positive energy, positive vibes, I call you, because you're the only person that gives me that. You're the only person that gives me that. I can't talk to nobody else. Everybody else just want to be, you know, bickering about this or da-da-da-da, and it's just too much. So I just want peace. I want to be at peace with everything. You know, it's already enough going on, and I don't want to hear nothing else from nobody. My mom just wanted to be left alone. She wanted peace, and that's what I gave her. That's what I gave my mom. And I feel good knowing that I at least gave her the peace that she wanted. I didn't, you know, remind her every day, hey, go to the hospital, or oh, you feeling like this, you need to go, you know. And I had already did that. I did that enough times already, and my mom was sick of that. She didn't want to hear it no more. She didn't want to deal with it no more. At one point, she was just like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. That's what she wanted. She got tired of the doctors poking at her. She got tired of all the doctors coming in there and telling her things different, this and that. She was tired. She just wanted to be somewhere she was comfortable. She had already lost her house, already lost her husband, and at the very least, all she wanted was to be in a place where she was comfortable, and that was with my grandmother, you know, in a place that she was familiar with, around people that she loved, you know. And I made sure I gave her what she wanted. And even up until the day her final days, you know, I went in there, I gave her peace. I wasn't dramatic. You know, when I cried, I walked out. I had to walk out of the room. I had to just let it all out whenever I left the room. But, you know, I gave her peaceful music. I played her a lot of Yahweh music, which is what she liked. She liked a lot of jazz music. I read scriptures. We sang to her. We sang to her because my mom loved hearing us sing. The girls sang to her. We told her, I just miss her so much. This will never be real to me. Like, it'll never be real to me. Like, I'm just here. I'm just living out whatever this dream, whatever this simulation I'm in right now. I'm just living it out because this is not real to me. Like, but we sang to her. She loved hearing us sing. We told her our 5-year plans, which is something that my sister told me to do. She's like, when you go in there and Layah, just tell her your 5-year plan, so that when she leaves, she feels like she, you know, if she was here, she would have something to look forward to, and she know that when she leaves, that y'all are gonna be okay. So we gave her our 5-year plans, and the girls told her about, you know, them graduating, going to middle school, and she was just so happy to hear that. She was just smiling, and she was in between smiling and kind of crying because she knew she wasn't going to be here to experience that and see that. Soraya told her about, you know, sorry y'all, her going to 2nd grade, and they were just so excited to just share this stuff with her. And, you know, we bought her pictures. We put the pictures on the wall. They drew for her. It was so hard seeing her like that, y'all. She was so small. Like, her legs, if you could take your index finger and your thumb and put it together, maybe at this first line of your thumb, this is how small her legs were. And all she wanted me to do was just massage her legs. And she was in so much pain. Like, massage her legs, massage her back. I rubbed her head a lot. Like, I was just really just comforting her, you know, because she was just in so much pain. So Flo talked to her a lot, letting her know, like, hey, I got these girls. You don't have to worry. I got these girls. And she looked at them, you know, and she kind of like shook her head, like, because I know my mom was worried, like, always worried about us, like, you know, how we were gonna be, and how we were being taken care of, and how my girls were being taken care of. She was just always so worried about that. And I just kept telling her, don't worry, stop worrying, we're gonna be okay. She said to me, she said, I just don't feel like my children have enough comfort. She said it. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean enough comfort? And she just started getting frustrated because she couldn't explain all the way. But she said clearly, like, I just don't feel like my children have enough comfort. I still don't know what she means by that, because I'm like, I have, you know, friends that have been
helping me. Flo, of course, has been the biggest support. And I'm like, well, Iman said, well, we have each other, you know. And, me and my sister, we've been, you know, talking and comforting each other. My brother, like, we've all, like, been here for each other. So I didn't really understand what she meant by that. It was a lot of things that she was saying that I didn't really understand what she meant. But, you know, Flo was just telling her, like, hey, I got these girls. You don't have to worry about them. I got these girls. You know, he's lost his mom, so he knew what this final stage was like. So he was like, make sure you say everything to her that you want to say. Ask her whatever you want to ask her. And just assure her that things are going to be okay. And I think that's why she was just so afraid to just leave, and knowing that, what about my children? She was like, my children, my children, my children. That's all she was worried about. So he also told her about our 5-year plan. I wasn't in the room for this. I couldn't stay. I could not stay in the room for this because I knew that it was going to be, you know. So he told her about our 5-year plan. He said, we're planning our wedding. We're going to, you know, we're going to get married, of course, because we're already engaged or whatever the case may be. My mom was been looking forward to this wedding since we announced it. And I'm so sad that I wasn't ever able to get a chance to do that, for her to experience that. But he told her, you know, we're going to have our wedding soon and we're planning it. And she's like, I want to be there. And it was just, you know, the hardest thing to really just face, because it's like we knew she wasn't going to be able to be there. And the only thing I can think of is like, I know you're not going to be there physically, but I know you'll be there in spirit, you know. When we got back home, my oldest daughter, Layah, she had her graduation. And she graduated 5th grade, so she was walking across the stage. And she said that she felt something warm touching her hand as she was walking across the stage. It was like something warm, like, and she was like, that was grandmother holding my hand. My grandmother was holding my hand as I was walking across the stage, because Layah held her hand a lot when we were, you know, visiting her. And she said, yeah, I knew that was grandmother with me walking across the stage. And I was just like, wow. And we've been getting so many signs that my mom has been here and she's been around and visiting us and watching over us. I've been getting a lot of those signs, but there's nothing like, you know, the comfort of being able to just talk to your mom every day and, you know, telling her what's going on, getting advice from her, asking her about things that, you know, you never knew about. It's just hard. There are just things that I'm just like, things that I'm going to go through in life that I'm not going to have my mom there to experience with me, you know. I think that's one of the toughest things to face. However, I am going to say this. I hurt way more from my mom while she was here than what I do now, because I knew when she was here the pain that she felt. You know, it got to the point my mom couldn't do a lot for her. When I went there, I had to bathe her, feed her. She couldn't get out of bed. She couldn't go to the bathroom. She was just too weak and tired. She couldn't even make it to her own husband's funeral. I had to go because she was just too weak, and she didn't want nobody to see her the way she was. So at her funeral, we didn't do no open casket, no casket. My mom did get cremated, which is something that we do in my culture. My mom didn't want nobody to see her the way she was, and we didn't want nobody to see her. Me, my brother, and my sister all agreed, like, we're not gonna let nobody see her like that. And then one of my aunts was like, well, you know, when they embalm you, when you pass away, your body goes back to normal. When they embalm you, they can get you to the way that you looked before. I was like, hell no. There is no way that they would have got my mom to look the way that she looked before. Her body was to bones. She was like skeleton. There was no putting her back together. Plus, I knew what my mom wanted. She didn't want nobody to see her like that, period. You know, her funeral was very peaceful. It was happy. It was uplifting. It wasn't something that was just like sad and miserable and murmuring. My mom didn't like none of that stuff. You know, so we did everything according to how we knew my mom would have wanted it. Because she didn't want that when she was here. She didn't like the sadness and the misery and the negativity. She didn't want none of that. She didn't want none of that. All she wanted was peace. And I feel good knowing that I was able to give her that, and knowing that she could confide in me to give her that. Because I just remember every time, like, me telling her, calm down, Ima. Calm down. It's okay. You know,
pray to Yahweh. Just pray to Yahweh. And that was another thing, like, in the room, when I saw her and she would get worked up, I would just be like, Iman, just say Yahweh. And I would breathe, just breathe, just breathe. And these are the things that I was doing with her, like, breathe. And she would breathe, and I would tell her, say Yahweh. She would say, Yahweh. And I would tell her, say Yahweh ben Yahweh, Yahweh ben Yahweh. And I would tell her, it was something else I told her to say, say Yahweh, and then say, don't worry. And she would say, Yahweh, don't worry. Yahweh is the ultimate comfort. There is no other comfort than that. And although I gave her what I could give her, Yahweh is the ultimate everything. And I feel like when I gave her that, when I reminded her, listen, Yahweh's in control. He got you no matter what. And he got me no matter what. And I feel like that was when she felt comfortable enough to just leave, knowing that, you know, holding on to the strength of Yahweh and just still being able to say that name and leave here on this earth still being a strong Hebrew Israelite woman, like, that made me feel good too, because I was proud. And another thing that happened too, like, that I'm extremely proud about, my mom, she actually forgave my dad for a lot of things that they went through. And you know, again, a lot of this was just her spiritual comfort, because, you know, although she was physically in pain, I feel like the spiritual is what was going to help her transition into her new life, her eternal life, her painless life, her happy life. So I wanted to give those words to her, give that encouragement to her, give her that, you know, spiritual enlightenment. And so to make it easier for her to transition, because I knew that this is what she was going through and it's what she needed. There was nobody else that could give her that. You know, I talked to one of our Hebrew brothers of the nation. He actually facilitated the funeral service, but him and my mom were good friends, and, you know, they would, you know, share scriptures together, talk about Yahweh, talk about, you know, just, he always just gave her that spiritual uplifting. Same with my dad, always gave her the spiritual. So I reached out to everybody that I knew that could give her that, and it helped, because she forgave my dad. And it's a lot of times my mom was not trying to hear nothing he had to say, but this day she got whatever it was out of her heart, and she forgave him. And that, oh, when I tell y'all that moment, I swear, when I cried, it was just the most beautiful thing. And I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. And it taught me about forgiveness. It taught me about, you know, just letting go and not holding on to grudges, because those kinds of things can kill you too. And not to say that that's what happened to her, but the fact that she let that go, y'all, was deep, because only I know, only a few of us know the type of resentment she had towards my dad. And they did have a good relationship, but there were still things that she was just, like, unsure about, like, not really messing with. Like, she just, like, you know, she didn't really want to. It was just a lot of things she held over his head, I can say that. And she let that go. And you know, I'm gonna miss her a lot. My girls, those were her everything. My girls, all the grandkids were her everything, y'all. Her everything. She gave them everything. She was still trying to buy my girls baby dolls. With my purse, I'll get baby dolls. You know, she was saying little stuff where I understood what she meant. And I'm like, you might don't worry about it. They good. They got enough baby dolls that you already bought them. Like, so I just know what I gotta do. I know I gotta take this and move forward and stay strong. I still gotta be that strong Layah, that strong black woman that y'all know me as. And I just gotta be an example, you know, the example that she wanted me to be, the example that this world needs. My girls needs it, but a lot of girls need it. A lot of girls have lost their mom. A lot of women have lost their mom. A lot of men have lost their mom. So I'm just here just to be that strong example. I know a lot of y'all have commented, you know, sent me DMs about losing y'all mothers and how y'all went through it and how y'all grieve. Everybody grieves differently. This has been tough for me. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. It has been tough for me. I'm not one to always let people see my pain. I don't even cry in front of Flo sometimes, like, cause I got this. I know I got this. My mom left me with something that nobody can take away from me. Like, when I tell y'all tough skin, I'm talking about tough steel, iron steel skin. Like, that lady wasn't going for it no matter what. Like, the realest. When I tell you that lady was the realest, And when I say I'm the realest, I get it from her. Like, no cap. You can ask anybody. That lady was the realest woman I've ever met. She didn't take shit from nobody. She wasn't putting up with shit from nobody. She gonna tell you like it is. And she'll tell you straight to your face with a bold ass face and feel no type of way about it. Feel no type of way about it. Definitely was not no type of woman where you just knew she was feeling the way as far as like emotional. That lady had too strong to be emotional. Too strong to let anything bother her. Other than, you know, like I said, in her last final days, a lot was getting to her because she's like, all I want to do at this point, I gave everybody what I could give them, you know. At least give me something back in return. All I ask for is peace. I just want to be left alone. I want to be at peace. And that's just what it was. That was her final wishes. So there's people that don't like that, and that's fine. But I'm not here to please nobody else. Nobody, you know, my mom wasn't here to please nobody else. Everybody has their way that they want to go. I know when I go, I want to have peace. I don't want nobody in my face, you know, trying to get me to do a million things and trying to get me to, you know, agree to things or attest to the fact that, you know, I'm sick and I'm dying soon. Nobody wants to deal with that. So that's just what it is. I mean, she's gone. She's not gone. She's still here. I feel her. Like earlier I was driving, I felt something on my face, like it was kissing me or rubbing me in my face, because I did a lot of that. I was rubbing her face a lot and when she was in her rehab, rubbing her on her head. I kissed her forehead a lot. And I'm gonna be all right. It's a process. It's definitely a process. It's a wound that will always be open, slowly healing. Can't really explain it, but that's just what it is. But my girls, oh my God, they have been making this a lot easier for me, is what I can say. Not easy, but they've been helping me get through it. They're gone for the summer, so it's gonna be a lot tougher for me. So I'm just kind of like trying to get back into my work mode, production mode, you know, doing videos with y'all on the channel, getting back to work really, and just focusing on me, bettering myself, and just being, you know, the woman that she wanted me to be. So that's what it is. My mom loved my YouTube, watched all my videos, both here and Princess and Flo. She just was into all of that stuff. She would tell the people at the hospitals and at the nursing home, that's my daughter. She a famous YouTuber. She big on YouTube, y'all. So as soon as I walked in, they knew who I was. Oh yeah, your mom talks about you all the time. You're the famous YouTuber, right? Yeah. I'm like, I'm not a famous YouTuber, you know, but that, knowing that she saw that, like, that's what she saw for me. That's how she looked. That's how I looked to her. So it's like, in her eyes, I was famous. In her eyes, I was big. So yes, I am a big famous YouTuber, and I'm gonna claim that. Okay, I may not be at 1 million followers or 1 million subscribers, but in her eyes, I was. In her eyes, it meant so much. Like, oh my God, my daughter famous, y'all. She a famous big YouTuber. Like, that's just what it was for her. And if that's what it meant to her, then that's what it means to me, and that's what it's just gonna mean, period. So that's my goal, y'all. I'm just, you know, getting back to my videos, getting back to my content, and just taking it up. You know, it's only up from here. You can't go nowhere else but up. So I'm happy that I was able to share that with y'all. There's so much more that, you know, of course, my mom, you know, played a huge role in my life, of course. So y'all will be seeing just a lot more of her coming out of me. I've never been a weak woman, never been a weak chick, so y'all will never see weak. I'm not taking shit from nobody. I always call it like I see it. If you fake, you fake. If you phony, you phony. If it's something I don't like, I call it out, and I've always been that way because I get that from her. You know, friends, all that little fake weird shit, nah, cut out. Ain't none of that. And people that really know me know that if there's any type of weird shit, it's cut off. I don't ask no questions. For what? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And then she's the same way. Cut off. If you do something weird, she's cutting you straight the fuck off. She's not talking to you on the phone. She's not trying to reason with you. There's no type of back and forth. It's just you cut, period. That's just what it is. So I know I get that from her, and that's a fact. I've always been that way. That's something that I've always dealt with her. There's a lot of times, even if I had any type of question about, hey, should I, you know, keep this person around, or should I keep, you know, being friends with this person, or should I worry about this or worry about that? No, cut it off. For what? Because what is you worried about it for? Because they ain't your friend if they was doing this, or they ain't your friend if they did this to you. Yeah, period. So that's just how it was. My mom was always big on energy, friends, not having certain friends, not having certain types of friends. She was always good on that and clocked it every time. And that's how I'm so good at judging friends and judging energies and vibes. I'm your girl for that. I'm definitely your girl. But yes, y'all, this was so good to be able to talk about. It always feels good to get that release out, and you know, just staying positive about it. If y'all have any questions, if y'all want to share y'all stories, definitely comment below. I got a lot more videos coming up. Y'all comment below, tell me who y'all want to see on the channel, who y'all want me to do videos with. Of course, y'all know I got my girl Chaz coming up soon. But yeah, so y'all, I look forward to seeing y'all soon, and thank y'all for watching. I love y'all so much. Peace and blessings to all of you, and I'll see y'all soon.
Pretty girl gang. If you are not bad and don't get it back, then you cannot sit with us.